so that's a good answer. The next one I'd like to have Christy come back forward. Or do you have anything else you'd like to add to any of these, Christy?
Oh, those were good answers.
Okay.
I agreed about the Chuck Norris.
Chuck Norris? Yeah, I like Chuck Norris too.
Bruce Campbell.
In all seriousness.
Christy, how can I say this? Does God make people turn gay, or do they do that on their own?
Pass.
Okay.
Just kidding. I'll answer that. Does God make people gay? I think is the question that people wrote. There's an underlying question here, and it's, does God make people a certain way and then decide that he won't accept them, but he made them that way? The answer is absolutely not. Does God make people do things that he doesn't want them to do? No. Does God make a list of rules that people can't fulfill and then kind of laugh when they can't? No. God wants to be close to people, and he wants people to be able to live up to what he's asked them to live up to. Now, that being said, are there ways that God has created us that help us do things that he doesn't want us to do? Yes. There's something that God did when he created us, and he made sure that it's true that people have free will. As long as people have free will, we have the opportunity to do things that God doesn't want us to do. That being true, I'm able to hurt other people, and other people are able to hurt me. So when people ask the question about, well, are you born that way, or is it your circumstances? It's probably a lot of circumstances, because I'm shaped by everything around me, and it's probably a lot to do with what I was born with, and that's this internal drive to do things that God doesn't want me to do, and to turn against him in any way that I can. When someone has the opportunity to turn away from God, we do it in all sorts of ways. So let's say I'm a pathological liar. All the time I'm lying. It's easy for me. I would even just say, I'm a liar. There's nothing that could ever change me. Would somebody else be able to say, well, she's just that way, so I guess that's just how God made her and that's okay? We would agree that lying or murder or a lot of things are wrong. I think it's more dangerous when we start to ask the question, can we say that being gay is wrong? Because what we're talking about is a person's identity. I wouldn't jump to say that the identity that someone has claimed for themselves, that I can just say like, sorry, that's wrong. You just need to shape up. What I'd say is that we are all in the same boat, and we all have been influenced by other people hurting us, and we've all made choices to deal with that hurt in different ways. I actually could go on and on about this topic. If you want to ask me about it after, feel free. Part of my story is I can say that God saved me from going down the path of living a lifestyle as a lesbian. It's a long story, lots of details. There's some sad parts, some happy parts. If you want to hear that story, I'll tell it to anyone. I just don't want to take the time right now because we're asking these questions. But what I would say from that experience is that I know that God is a whole lot less concerned with what I do and exactly what decisions I make and how do I convert and do I have to stop being gay before I know God. All of that is kind of water under the bridge compared to we are all in the same boat and we've turned away from him. And we all desperately need him to take the initiative to change us so that we can believe in him in the first place. And he wants to know us. So ask me more about this if you want to. I think something that goes along with this one, there was another question about, is the definition of being homosexual in the Bible the same as today? Yes.
You just answered that question.
Yes. See.
The next question along the lines of things happening to people is, why does God let bad things happen to good people, and bad people always seem to have good things happen to them?
This goes a little bit along with what I was saying about free will. As long as God allows free will to be a possibility and that we have the opportunity to turn away from him, there will always be bad things happening. I don't know if anyone could raise their hand here to say, I've never done anything wrong. If you can, no you can't, right on. He almost had it up, and then he put it down. We've all done something wrong. When I do things that are wrong, it hurts other people, and it has this effect on them, and sometimes it might even make them do something wrong. There's something in us that as soon as we do what we want, it often is rebelling against God, and God's reaction is not to force us to do something that follows Him. His reaction is, I gave you free will, and He allows us to rebel. All things that happen that are part of, we'd call it brokenness, or the system isn't quite right, people hurting other people, oppression, even the way that creation is messed up, and disasters, and sickness, and disease, and everything that we do wrong, are all the result of what life is like without God. It's almost, I would say, this is shocking, but it's like a taste of hell, what life is like without God. It isn't the case that if lightning strikes my house, it's because of something specific that I did wrong. Maybe, I don't know. But what I know for sure is that when nature and creation of humanity and people are not in harmony, even that is because we have rebelled against God, and everything is messed up because humans have done things wrong. So when bad things happen, that makes it seem like I'm an innocent victim and something bad happened. It isn't that God said, you did these things wrong, therefore these 10 bad things will happen to you. It's more general. Bad things are happening all the time to all people, good and bad. Usually, if seems like on the surface that I have it together, there are still difficult, bad things going on in my life, and I might be hiding it. We're all equally under the case of God wants to bless us, and we're also just under the consequences of what it's like to live in a life where we've pushed God out.